We'll get started now. I think we've got enough people in, although I'm sure they'll just roll in as we go. So again, this is an ISC West preview. Really not everything we're going to show, but a really good portion of it. Let me see if I can make the technology work the way it's supposed to. So we're going to talk about an IP speaker we're releasing, or IP horn, a dual imager camera with AI, a bullet camera with AI, a dome camera with AI, and automatic number plate recognition camera. So basically an AI-driven LPR camera or automatic number plate camera. And we'll discuss the differences with those. But the key thing is there, it's got AI. It's not the high performance. It's got a high performance AI in it. Also, our new G4 DVR recorders. We'll talk a little about those. We have new Blackjack DX servers that are released and available now. A Blackjack CX. These are different than our regular servers. And those will be shipping shortly, like in the next few days or, over ISC. Our Blackjack AI servers, and then our digital Watchdog Megapixel 20 megapixel cameras. So we'll go through, we'll talk about it. We're going to talk a little about Spectrum. We got a few other people jump in. Thanks for jumping in there. We got Derek, Andy, a bunch of guys. So let's get rolling along a little more. So the first thing we're going to talk about is our SightWatch DW IP horn or IP speaker, fully compatible with DW IP cameras via Spectrum. So it's fully compatible with Spectrum. And what full compatibility means is Spectrum finds it automatically. It's a device like a camera, and you can access all of its functions through the Spectrum client. So it makes a big difference when you're configuring a device and you're making, API calls to it or whatever. You can do it directly from in Spectrum, which makes the programming easier. It's also compatible with voice over IP with SIP. So, someone wants to make an announcement, it'll integrate to their phone system, and they can hit, whatever it is, star 72 and go, hey, is Bob Smith here? Or he needs to come to the office or whatever. They can make the announcement over that. It has built-in pre-recorded messages. So again, we could talk about AI. We can talk about people wandering into the wrong area, and the speaker makes an announcement saying, hey, you've wandered into the wrong area, split. Or it sends out a notification, clicks a relay to turn on a light, and then it says, oh, you wandered into the wrong area. So you can use it to give you more control over your sites that are around you. Support for HTTPI, so meaning you can send HTTP commands to the camera to have it do other stuff from other applications. OnVIF conformant, you can manage it via the web browser built in, and it's class 3 PoE. So it will plug into PoE switch and away you go. So that's the first thing we're releasing. We'll have it at the show. It's tough to set up a demo, but we're going to set up a demo here. Maybe have a mic on something else and some part behind our building or something like that. So if you logged into our demo site, you'll be able to, hear it make a canned announcement or something like that. So we're working on that. So the next thing we're releasing is several new cameras with AI in them. So this is our dual imager camera. So you can put this in a hallway and look down left and right on a hallway with 2 5 megapixel cameras. You can put it in a corner. These have tons of configurations of people going, underneath them, and you're seeing all the activity in an area. But one of the key features is this is going to have AI deep learning object detection built into it, or what we call Megapix AI. You can create 40 rules or detection zones in the camera, fully integrated with Spectrum, as you would hope. So you have reduced false alarms, increase your recording storage, with different logical rules and smart recording. What's cool about this, though, is it's self-calibrating. So you basically go in, set up the camera, point it, make sure it's in focus and in the view you want. You then go in and choose the different things you want. I'm going to show you anyway, but it's self-calibrating, so it makes it much easier to install. 2.8 millimeter lenses in it, wide dynamic range, alarm ins and outs, fully NDAA compliant. If you look at our line now, we might have one model number that's not NDAA compliant. There's very few. We've worked very hard to make sure all our products are NDAA compliant, and our 5-year warranty, which works out well for everybody. We like giving out that warranty and having you guys, if something happens, take advantage of it, because we don't want you guys to have a problem and you're left with something that doesn't work. So 5-year warranty on it, and which we honor through everywhere, different distributors, call it tech support, wherever you want to take advantage of it. So we also released a 4K bullet. Okay, so it's got Starlight Plus in it, like the other camera. It's got the same AI deep learning. Okay, it's got a 2.7 to 13.5 millimeter lens, true wide dynamic range. This is a cold start camera to -40. So you folks up in Canada, Montana, Wyoming, where it gets cold and stays cold for a long time, this will continue to function. Or you got to roll out to a site, replace a camera, and it's super cold out, and that camera's been rolling around the back of your truck for a while. It'll work. It'll pop on even in -40, and 100-foot smart IR. So again, this has got the video analytics in it. It's designed for tougher situations than normal. PoE plus, NDAA compliant, and the front glass and the camera itself is IK10 impact rated. And again, our 5-year warranty on it. And we've released a dome camera, 2-way audio, okay, 70-foot smart IR, same lens, same deep learning AI. And so these are our first of our 3 cameras. And I want to talk to you a little bit about the deep learning AI and how you access it and how you set it up. So the deep learning AI, you access the camera menu from Spectrum. You have to be an administrator to do this. And you go in and the camera's all pointed, it's in focus. And then you can set up your rules. You've got your intrusion, line cross, enter, exit, appear, disappear, stopped, tailgating, which is great for access control and trying to control car traffic, counting with incrementing, de-incrementing, and alerts based on the number of the number of counts made. Meaning, if you had someplace that had a 50-person capacity and people were walking in and out, and you stayed right about 45, 46, it won't send out an alert. As soon as you hit, let's say 49, you could have an alert notification sent to the guy at the door saying, you know, hey, you're at capacity and don't let any more people in. And as people leave, that you can have it sent another alert, let's say at 42, saying, hey, please send more people out. So it's really good that it has this counting, logical rules, meaning you can combine rules if you're worried about false alarms at all. And then, of course, non-detect zones. So it's all done at the camera, but it is no calibration. You point the camera, it's focuses in, and you go in and add your sights to it. And if we go in a little deeper, we can go in, come on, video play, there we go. And we'll have it play and look at the web page of the camera. And this is basically a real-time recording. So it's recorded from Tampa, from our California office. So it takes a second or two to come up. We've got a calibration button, which is literally for just making sure the camera's all in focus and everything. You choose your rules. Detection default is all, by the way. So if we want to create a rule like line cross, if you look, it's got person, motorcycle, cyclist, bag, van, whatever. So if you have appear, disappear, you just let's say choose bag for a certain area. You know, someone leaves a bag on it. You have your counters menu, burn and annotation menu, and things like that. So you can display on the screen what it is. So it's very easy to set up. It detects the camera. You tell the camera to record, and really away you go. It's really makes things a lot easier. And the notification and alerts you can do from Spectrum, you can do notifications, you can trip relays, you can turn on lights, you can do stuff with our IP horn, all with these detailed deep learning analytics. So again, it's a good thing. I've got some questions in here. Do I have just questions or comments? Let's see, someone asked me about licenses. The licenses and the AI stuff is built into the camera, so you don't have to worry about that. And the 4K dome, is it built into a audio? So it does not have the mic. You need a mic. So you need who's ever manufactured mics. There's LaRoe, there's Sound Secure, there's a few manufacturers of those. And then you need a speaker. You need a audio. So you need the IP speaker to do the different things. So those are two of the questions. We'll wait for the rest of the questions till the end. And let's see, we will get started. Next camera we're releasing is the Megapix AI ANPR camera. So this is very similar to the other bullet, cold start, -40, 100-foot IR, but it has built-in automatic number plate recognition. So it has a different video analytic component to look at letters and numbers and deduce what they are and turn them into usable text and a searchable text. So I'm going to give you a quick idea of what the menu looks like and what it looks like in Spectrum. So I don't know if you can see this blue shading here. Let me get my mouse over here. This blue shading here. So that's the area you can set up to detect. Now you can set that up, make it bigger, make it smaller, make it tighter. And then what it's doing is it's analyzing that area and it's looking for basically number plates, and it creates a black and white snapshot of it, which you can see over here. And it puts them in the camera, and then it pushes that information into Spectrum. Okay. Some people call it XML, some people call it metadata, but this actual little picture and the plate number is brought into Spectrum. Okay. So you got license plate number, because especially if it can't figure out the type of vehicle, it just says license plate number and the plate. And then you have this color overview. So you have both color picture recorded and that. So it's single camera with two uses. You've got your surveillance going on, and plus you're grabbing the plates, and you can do stuff with these plates, do things with these plates. One is allow, deny list, allow list. You can search, and then we're going to go into some of the camera menus and show you. So we can, matter of fact, I'm going to pause right. I'm going to roll it back a little bit. You can choose different regions. So different countries have different plates. So we can go in and choose different regions. Of course, US is default because we're selling these in the US and Canada. You can go in and you'll see it's detected the plates. All right. And then when I go in and tell Spectrum to look at objects, it'll then display those on the side. It has a search function built into the camera, so I can just click the search button. Oh, I'm just putting in a single digit there. And any plate with 2 2s in it, it's going to bring all those plates up here, but also you can do it in Spectrum. And actually, that's the beauty of it. Once the camera is set up and working, you don't have to go into the camera and look at any of this stuff. You can create an allow and deny list. So if something's on the allow list, the gate will open, let's just say. Deny list, meaning the gate won't open. You can set your parameters for your capture in there, but you don't have to change too much of these. It's pretty straightforward. Factory settings are usually pretty good. And then if we go over here, we now can do our search in Spectrum. We don't need to look at that menu. We don't need that. We can just type in, like I typed in 96 and see how many plates have 96 in them. We've got this one vehicle popping in and out at different times. I think it's a van or something. There we go. It's an Amazon van. So they come and deliver a lot of stuff to our office, I guess. People are ordering from Amazon, having it delivered, which is fine. But you can see it's picking up all of them, and it's going to play back that van, and you can stop it, define what you want, to save if you're saving stuff on that. And you can it's great. You can just use it. And once the camera's going, you just do everything in Spectrum. So it makes it very easy. You don't have to go to another menu, another piece of software, anywhere else to do anything. But there's even an advanced search, which I don't have in here, which picks up and shows you a preview, the vehicle, and a preview window. You can just go through all these windows here, these alerts here, much easier. All right. And so my little summary is we're going to have more models coming. We're going to have more form factors. We're going to have more ways these things can be used. Maybe we'll see a ball camera with the LPR. Maybe we'll see another type of camera with ANPR in it and all that. So all the Megapix camera that come with AI have the question was the licensing, has the licensing in it. So you don't have to worry about the licensing. And if you guys are a member of our Double Down program, so our Double Down program, meaning if you get a digital Watchdog camera, digital Watchdog server, and you're a member of what's called our CPP, which is our customer program, you basically can get licensed for little or no cost. Okay. Any specialty camera is no cost. Be a member of our CPP program. We should show you, or your sales rep will show you how to set it up, and you can basically get free licenses for your digital Watchdog server. That's my real summary. Is we're going to have more models coming throughout the rest of the year. We'll have a bunch of different ones, as time goes on. So the next thing we're going to talk about quickly is Gen 5. So some of you guys, maybe most of you guys, there's a lot of people in here, are familiar with Spectrum. I'm just going to go over some brief information on it. So Spectrum and digital watchdog cameras, especially now we have this AI portion of the cameras and ANPR and encoders. We take Spectrum and we try to fully integrate it into every device, and every device to fully integrate Spectrum. Okay. So it's designed to work together very well. Now, I think at last count on our compatibility site, we support 15,000 different cameras from 800 and change different manufacturers. So we support a lot of stuff out there, H.264, H.265, motion JPEG. So the Spectrum will work with a lot of stuff, but for full integration, best to use digital watchdog cameras with it. All right, that's one. The next is ease of use. The Spectrum interface is really easy to use. You can drag cameras over, you can create layouts, or you can double click on them. You can see on this one, we actually have a analytics running, and you can either turn on and off the analytics. You can then go playback all those cameras, playback some of those cameras, do a search. So I'm just going to do a motion search, not an analytics search. And I'm going to highlight an area, and it's going to be all the motion events that happen in that spot. I'm going to go back a day or so, and it'll just start playing back events that happen in that area. So we've got the fine guys from Fontana Brothers Air Conditioning leaving the parking lot. We'll bring up, and we've got, who's that? That's Lou and his car, and we're pulling stuff out of his car. And then I'm going to make a bigger area. I felt I made that one too small, so I'm not seeing enough motion events from in there. So I made one over here, and then there's me and Lou yanking stuff out of his car. And you see, I've got 1, 2, 3 areas. So you can create different areas of motion or combine them to see all the motion events that happen in those spots. So again, it's very and simple to use and easy to archive video and send video to other people, which is the key to Spectrum. The other thing is regardless of OS, you're ready to go. We support Windows 10, Windows 11, different Windows flavors of Windows Server, Linux. We rely on Ubuntu only because Ubuntu is very ubiquitous in the Linux community. They have a good desktop and they have very good reliability. And of course, Apple computers, we have a client for that. And of course, iOS, and we have the Android apps. But also, Spectrum has an open API, basically open source. If someone wants to write a piece of software to have Spectrum do something, or have Spectrum do something with a piece of software, we have an API that allows you, API and SDK, that allows you to talk back and forth, and it's installed in every install of Spectrum. So there's no need to sign a contract or call a lawyer, and you got an NDA, sorry. You got all these different things you got to do. You can access it very easily. The instructions are on our website. So if someone wants to have product X talk to Spectrum, or Spectrum talk to product X, no problem. Built into the software, basically open source. Enterprise features are standard. There's no need to buy a different version to have full compatibility. All right. All the system features are available, which is great for the average average user and the average dealer, because they're not having to decide between, do I need the corporate version? Do I need the enterprise version? Do I need consumer version? Whatever it is, you don't have to do it. You use Spectrum, you can use live view, playback, and archive, and that's it. Or you can use the more advanced features because they're all in there. Other things, it's got a built-in DW cloud in it. There is no limit to what you can put into the cloud. Like, we don't say, oh, you can have 10 systems and then that's it. Put as many systems as you want in there. You can add as many users as you want to these systems. We don't charge for it. Also, the way it's configured, no port forwarding, and you don't have to do a crazy, if you can get out to the internet, you're going to be able to get out to the DW cloud. So the DW cloud has super quick setup. It's got a browser-based user interface, so you can manage users. You can even do view playback and view live video. You can quickly connect to systems and say, I don't want to be in the web browser. The client has more features in it. I want to go into features and open the standard Spectrum client. It does work with all the different browsers, the Chrome, the Edge, the Opera, the Firefox. I've never even used Opera. I don't know what that is. And we have these stationed, the server and services are stationed on Amazon Web Services throughout the country. And another thing about Spectrum and cloud is security. So DW Cloud undergoes regular security checks and audits. So this way we make sure we have the latest tech to secure communications and password management. And some of these, as you can see, are two-factor authentication. We have password recovery, but available by email to the specific user. We have password storage. You can encrypt your connection if you choose to, and you can encrypt the server. Okay, encrypt the video, so you can do it between client and server, or when the server's writing it to the drive, it can create an encryption. So it's really a complete system enterprise. If you're ever worried about, I got this thing, and I got this one customer is very picky, and they're very worried about, security. We run this through tests all the time to make sure it's secure. If there's a new security thing we need to worry about, the developers go in there and, see if we're vulnerable to it. So it's really quite good. Anyway, licensing, one-time licensing, okay? Meaning you license the camera and you can start recording. We even have the ability for you, without having to call us, send us a fax, remember those? Send us an email or anything, where you can transfer between services. The actual license is not tied to a camera. It's not looking at a MAC address, whatever. It's just saying you have a pool of licenses on this one server, but if you do what we call merge, and there's licenses on that server, now let's say you had 15 licenses on this one, 21, you now have 25 licenses to use between the two servers. So, and there's no extra license needed for failovers. Some other people in this space, if you have 50 cameras and you wanted a server to do failover, you need to buy another 50 licenses, and maybe an upgraded, you got to go from the corporate version to the enterprise version of their software, which means you're paying more per license. So then all of a sudden you got to buy 100 licenses at a higher price versus 50 licenses at a lower price. So again, it's just, to me, very simple one-time license application. Scalability, we make a product called CAS. I think they have 512 and 1 terabyte of storage built into them now. And it's a single camera. It can be, you can tie a bunch of them together and make a system. You can take all those systems, put them in the cloud. I'm not here to talk about CAS because it's not new release. We don't have any new releases on it yet. You can go from one device, which will act just like any other Spectrum server, to big rack mount server with 96 terabytes of storage in it. And the behavior will be the same. Have the same behavior if you're running a Windows machine with the client, the Mac machine for the client, the buttons, everything works the same way. Or you can use Linux, and we have a Linux client, it goes the same way. So if you have a customer, I'm not really want Windows because it's not secure, we use Macs here, you can put a Linux server in, which, they'll be fine with, and then you can run the Mac client. So you can cover 99% of the people out there with that. And also with Spectrum, we have all these resources. If you want, I can send you a list of these, a link list to you. You can download Spectrum, install it yourself, client and server, how to access the cloud, support users manual. We have documents. We have our new feature section. We have a video library, which you can see, how do I archive video? Click the video link. We have a whole knowledge base. So if you needed a specific thing like getting an RTSP stream from Spectrum or getting this from Spectrum, you can do it. We have a system calculator and stuff like that. So if you guys want the links to this, by all means, shoot me an email and I'll send you a link. Next thing I'm going to talk about is, and the last thing about Spectrum, is the Spectrum configuration, what it is. We have mobile apps, okay, that allow you to do live view, playback, and trigger alarms. We've got the cloud, works in any browser. We've got the client software, again, covered by Apple, Linux, and Windows. And we've got our server, which is covered in Windows and Linux. So they're designed to work together and give you. So the next thing we're going to talk about is our Digital Watchdog DVR. Okay, we released a new Digital Watchdog DVR, which means you're hooking up the cameras to coax cables. Okay, there are still millions of miles of coax cable out there, and some people don't want to dig them out. Some of them are at historic sites, so they have to dig out the wall, all that stuff. So I'm going to briefly go over this new release, because this new release is, we have an 8 and 16 channel unit. We'll record 4K cameras. We have 4K cameras in our lineup. These are higher performing machines than our previous models, so they can support our MyDW cloud management services. They have Pathfinder. They talk to our C3 software. Some of you guys are familiar with, have our kind of really neat in the recorder, and you can also view remotely system status configuration. They have their own iOS and Android app along with an Apple TV app. The signal is auto detects. You plug a camera in. If it's a supported camera, it'll auto detect it. You don't need to do anything, reboot or whatever. So we have an 8 and 16 channel on this. And then we have our new 4-channel G4, up to 5 megapixel cameras, the MyDW cloud management, all the same features. And of course, these are all NDAA and TAA compliant. Got any more questions? Shoot me them in an email. These are released, they're shipping, and you can go and pick one up and view it. It does have one kind of cool feature in it, which is you can grab the RTSP stream from this unit and send it into Spectrum or whatever you want to send it. So if someone has, a home automation system and hey, I just want to get that one camera and they have the coax cable run, they don't really want to upgrade the cable, you can plug this in and get the RTSP stream and put it to their, their panel for their Control 4, whatever home automation system they're using. So it does have that functionality also. So we also have the new Blackjack servers we've released and we're releasing at the show. And I do want to talk about those. So first off, Blackjack servers, we have a lot of different configurations. We've got our rack mounts, we've got our small desktops, and we've got our tower systems. And so the first new release is our DX series. So our DX series is our modular series, meaning we have a DX1, DX3, DX5, and DX7. They're going to give you the same look. They're going to give you the same features on the front and back, where you're, plug in for USB, for your audio, all that stuff will look the same. But they will have different performance based on, based on what you do. So if we look at first the DX1, 3, and 5, they're going to look the same. The DX1 is a replacement really for our Mini/Bolt. I don't know if you guys have used those before. This one will only be a Linux server. And again, but this will support 24 cameras. It's got up to 20 terabytes of storage. Then we go to the DX3, which will have a Windows or Linux version. And the OS will be on an SSD drive. All right, so you get greater performance there. And you can start talking about, 64 cameras, DX5, i5, again, higher performance, do more, 16 gig of RAM, and 360 megabits of throughput on that one. So we have those 3 guys. And what they're going to do is they're going to be just different price levels based on performance. And then we're going to have the DX7, which is i7 processor, higher performance. And this is designed to run 21 megapixel cameras, things like that, having AI shot into them, all that stuff. So that's what the DX7. And then we've got this next release. So we have a product called the CX. So the CX is a digital watchdog server with a PoE built in, and it's PoE plus. It has actually 3 network interfaces. It's got your 16 ports. It's got an uplink port for another switch. And then it's got your main port for WAN, LAN, corporate network, whatever you want to call it. Keyboard, mouse, up to 40 terabytes of storage in it, 5-year warranty. Spectrum built into it, 2 times 1 gig ports over here, along with the 16 other ports for your PoE. And again, 15 watts per port. 4 alarm in, 2 alarm outs on the back via this thing. So it has the alarm ins and outs on it. Whereas let's say a DX would not, okay? And I think I looked at the cost and there was like, I don't quite remember, but it was a couple $100 difference between getting a DX, DX3, and then one of these, and then you don't have the switch. DX3, you still got to go get another manufacturer switch, whatever. So this is really good system to have a good, smaller form factor, clean install of a Spectrum server. And again, it's 1U. So next we're going to talk about, though, is Blackjack AI. We've released these. I think we've done a couple of webinars on Blackjack AI and what it does. So these are servers that have the AI software built into them. So you can take any camera. Matter of fact, our demo out of our Tampa office, if someone wants access to it and take a look at how it performs, we can give you access to it. You send me your email. I'll make you a user on it and you can take a look. RTSP stream from a analog recorder, G4 recorder. We've got a 2 megapixel camera and I think a 4K camera and maybe one other camera on the AI server. Forget what megapixels. I think it's a 5, doing the AI from the server. So anyway, so we've got our mid-size desktop tower. Again, higher performance. All these are 32 gig of RAM, at least 480 megabits of throughput. You can do 64 analytic streams, which means 64 cameras recording and then 64 analytic streams, because it does take some system processing to do AI. They ship with 4 licenses each, so you can get going. So if you're only doing a couple AI cameras, you don't have to worry about buying extra AI licenses. All right. We also have our mid tower. We have a full tower, which gives you more storage, basically the same performance, but up to 96 terabytes of storage. You can configure it as RAID 5. All these have a GPU on board. The same apps as Spectrum, so you have your Android, all your different apps are the same. And then we have a rack mount version. Again, same storage as the tower, but it's in a rack mount case. Some people like that better, especially when they're doing a bunch of different. And then just a little summary on these is you're hosting the analytics and everything on one server. Okay, so you can plug in, like I said, non-analytic cameras. They got some old cameras lying around. They want to still, they still sort of work. So they want to have do it. They can upgrade deployment because it's one box. You're not having to put an analytic box in, and then then a recording server makes that easier. And up to 600 megabits of throughput. Again, these are latest generation processors in it, and the Windows OS, which right now they're only Windows 10. There will be changes to that, but right now Windows 10 OS on an SSD. And then, of course, let's just take a look at this. So I'm going to pause this video for a second, because on your desktop, you got your IP Finder. So you go out and launch IP Finder, find all your cameras, set your IPs, do what you got to do in there. You launch Spectrum, make sure the cameras are recording, and then you go to this thing, which is your IP configurator. Now, this is looking at a merged server. So if you look, these are what's on the AI mid tower. So those are the 2 cameras that are on it that are analytics. These other servers, they're not on an analytics server, so they don't show up. And this will just show you all the cameras on the system or just the AI cameras on the system, depending on when you click that button. See, so it'll just reduce it down. There we go. So what you do is then go in and just turn on the cameras. So click the plugin, turn it on, choose which tracker you want. Now, this is not a hard and fast rule, but I look at object tracker, which can track people, as sort of outdoors. You're worried about cars, trucks, vans, people, whatever. Indoors, you've got people tracker, because most of the time indoors, but it's not always, because you have these big warehouses with, maybe trucks pulling in and loading and unloading stuff. You may want to just use object tracker for everything, but you have people tracker for tracking stuff indoors. Again, it's not a hard and fast, you got to do it this way. It's just a suggestion. And then don't use object tracker, because you want to use the DL, the deep learning tracker on there. Turn it on, and away you go. And then you go in and you got your rules. Let's see, we'll click over here. This one goes by fast, sorry. You've got intrusion, enter, loitering, appear, disappear. And so it works the same way as what we saw in the cameras we're releasing. So you go in, you set your rules, you choose what you're tracking and what you're not tracking, and away you go. It also has the same counter. So you can go in and add increments, de-increments, add occupancy input, and then whatever threshold you want to create an alert. That's what that threshold value means, the threshold you want to make an alert. And then we'll go over here. We've got our tamper, which just tells you, if someone's been messing with the camera. And then we've got this one, which advanced, which is you don't usually change this. This will be 60 from the factory. This I changed because we were doing an experiment with stopped vehicles and how long it took to detect the stop versus how long the customer wanted. So you can increase and lower those. If you want to see object color, it'll deduce the color. It's actually always doing the color. It's just, does it transmit it into Spectrum? So you can turn that on and off. So again, very easy to use and set up. And then once it's set up, you use Spectrum. So we've got thing. It's trying to detect the color in the shadows. You'll have people wandering in and it'll tell you it's people or not. And you can draw a box. So again, we go over here. You can draw a box like you can with the motion detection in Spectrum to find objects just in that area who are intersecting with that area. So you see their detection is around them, this gray box. If it intersects with that at all, it'll be a area of detection. We'll just jump forward. See, we got people coming in here. And then they're leaving. They went to the wrong place. And so on. So it's set up. It's very easy to use. Intelligent analytics in the servers is a little more detailed because it does a more detailed color track, but pretty much the cameras to the servers is going to be the same as just what you want to access. If it's a new setup, maybe you're just putting in cameras in a regular server, or you've got some retrofit cameras and, you've got someone who's, kind of, I'm not going to say cheapening out, but cheapening out, and, only wants 2 megapixel cameras or something like that. Then you can use the server that has the AI in it. So that's another thing we can talk about. Also, we're releasing our Megapix Flex, which is a 20 megapixel, so 5 megapixel per imager, multi-view camera, multi-sensor. It only requires 1 license, though, for the question came up about licensing. And you can position the camera any way you want. And the difference between this camera and other cameras I've seen on the market is these things have a very tall field of view. I guess it's the vertical field of view. We actually are moving it from the side of one side of our building to another. And what I noticed was if I had took it and there's a building across the street and I had cut out the roof so the camera's sitting on their edge of their roof, so I'm not seeing any sky, I could see very clearly almost the whole air conditioning unit right under the camera. So there's almost no blind spots with it, which is great. And again, you stick this in a hallway, you stick it on the corner of a building, whatever, you're going to have great results. And it's autofocus and it's a varifocal camera. That's what I got for you today.